This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Yeah. So in the previous session, we discussed about the plugins. Okay. So plugin topic is done. Today we will be starting on a different topic, that is MS flows. Okay. So today's topic is MS flows. MS flows. MS flows means Microsoft flows. We can also call them as Power Automate. Power Automate flows. Okay, all are same. MS flows, or Power Automate flows, all are similar. Okay, so this concept was introduced recently. So when we have 2013 2015 version, CRM 2013 and 2015 version, so at that time we do not have this Power Automate concept. We only have system workflows. Okay, so to replace system workflows, they introduced a concept called MS flows. Okay, so using MS flows, you can perform most of the tasks. See, system workflows has some limitations, but Power Automate flows can do most of the using Power Automate flows. You can implement any kind of requirement. Okay, so only in few situations we cannot use Power Automate flows, but most of the times we can use these. And the advantage of Power Automate flows is you no need to write the code. So everything is configuration only. See, if you want to implement a plugin, you need to write a .NET code, right? So, but now using Power Automate flows, you no need to write .NET code. So it is a configuration thing only. You can create any record, retrieve any record, delete any record, or you can send the data from one system to another system, from CRM to Java, any kind of integration that you can perform using Power Automate flows. But only disadvantage with the Power Automate flows are uh, Power Automate flows in asynchronous mode. Okay, so all the Power Automate flows run in asynchronous mode. Okay, you cannot run a Power Automate flow in synchronous mode. Let's say if you want to show any error message to the user from the Power Automate flow, it is not possible. You cannot show an error message to the user from the Power Automate flows because they'll run in the background in asynchronous mode. Okay, if it is running in synchronous mode, you can show it. Okay, so that is the main drawback of Power Automate flows. Okay, so here you have three types of Power Automate flows that you can create. Okay, in flows you can create three types of flows. We have three types of flows. Okay, those are automated cloud flow, automated cloud flow. Okay, so this is first one. Second one is instant cloud flow, and the last one is scheduled cloud flow. So you can have three types of cloud flows. You can have three types of cloud flows: automated cloud flow, instant cloud flow, scheduled cloud flow. See, so all these three flows are differentiated by the trigger point only. See, only the difference between these three is the trigger point. Inside the action, create, update, retrieve, delete, all the operations inside that you are performing are similar. Only the difference that you can see in these three flows are the trigger point. Okay, how they are getting initiated. So that is the difference between these three flows. Okay, we will go in detail into each one of it. Okay, let's say automated cloud flow. When we have to go for automated cloud flow, so depending on the requirement you have to choose whether you have to use automated cloud flow or instant cloud flow or scheduled cloud flow. Okay, depending on the requirement. So let's say I have a requirement. My requirement is when I create, let's say when I create an account, a flow should get trigger. Or when I update revenue field of account, then I want to trigger my flow. See, if I want to create any record at that particular point of time, if you want to trigger it, or when I modify any field on the form at that particular point of time, if you want to trigger any flow, in those cases, you will go for automated cloud flow. Not only create update. Let's say if I am deleting any record at that particular point of time, if you want to trigger your logic, then you have to go for automated cloud flow. So using automated cloud flow, you can trigger the flow on creation of any record or on update of any field on the form or on deletion of any record in the system. So this is automated cloud flow. The name itself, it is saying automated, which means you no need to manually trigger it. So when you create an account, automatically Cloudflow will trigger. When you update any field on the form, automatically Cloudflow will trigger. When you delete any record, it will automatically initiate. So that is automated Cloudflow. What is instant Cloudflow? What is instant Cloudflow? Instant Cloudflow will trigger manually. You have to manually trigger it. Okay. So you have to trigger. Manually trigger. Most of the cases we will trigger the instant cloud flow manually. Why we need to go for instant cloud flow? Let's say you have bulk data. You have 1,000 records and you want to set the 1,000 records salary information to let's say $100. Okay, so let's say you have list of employees. Those list of employees, you want to set the salary to $100. Okay, then what you can do, you can create one simple instant cloud flow and you have to manually trigger it. Once you trigger it, you can get all those 1,000 records and you can loop them. You can update the salary to $100. Okay, so let's say you have bulk data and you want to update that bulk data, then you can use instant cloud flow. Instant cloud flows can be called manually. You cannot initiate it automatically. So it is instant cloud flow, name itself saying you have to manually trigger it. What is the last one? Scheduled cloud flow. Name itself it is saying scheduled. So if you have a particular date and time, at that particular point of time, if you want to trigger your logic or if you want to trigger your flow, you have to go for scheduled cloud flow. Let's say you have a requirement like this. Every day at 9 o'clock, every day at 9 o'clock, a flow should get triggered. A flow should get triggered. That flow should delete the records of 1 year old. Okay. See, now I have employee records. I want to delete employee records which are of 1 year old. Okay. I do not want to store 1 year back data. That is why I want to delete the records which are of 1 year old. So I want to trigger a flow that should trigger at 9 o'clock every day, and it should check all the employees where created on is 1 year old. Okay, I need to check if the employee record is 1 year old or not. How can you check if a record is 1 year old or not? You have a created on field. So that using that created on field, you can find it out if it is 1 year back record or not. So if it is 1 year back record, get that record and delete. So this job will run every day at 9 o'clock and get the 1 year old records, delete them. So if you have a specific requirement like that, then you have to go for scheduled cloud flow. A particular date and time. If you want to trigger a flow, then you can go for scheduled cloud flow. So that is the difference between these three. Okay, so there is no other difference. Okay, so all the actions like create, update, retrieve, delete, all the actions are similar. Only the trigger point is different. Okay. Now we will implement the same requirement which we done it in the plugin. See what we have done. See, this is account record. When I change the annual revenue of an account, the related employees, you have related employees, right? So these related employees, sorry, these are contacts. The related employees salary should get updated to the same annual revenue. See, this is the same requirement we implemented in plugin. Okay, so we have seen like how to implement that requirement using plugin. Now I will show you how to implement the same requirement using flows, Microsoft Flows, MS Flows. Okay, so first of all, I wanted to disable that plugin. Okay, let's disable that plugin because if you don't disable it, a plugin also will run and our flow also will run. Okay, so this is our plugin. Click on disable. Yes. So now I disabled it. See, plugin got disabled. You can see. Now this plugin will not trigger. Okay. Now this is your account. So what is our requirement? When I modify annual revenue of an account, I need to get the related employees and I want to set the salary of an employee to annual revenue. Let's say if I enter 70,000, the 70,000 value should get updated on the salary. Okay, so this is my requirement. So now you have three types of flows. Which type of flow you should choose? You have three types of flows. Which one I should choose?
Automated.
Okay, why we need to go for automated cloud flow?
Once we update the annual revenue, the automatically
It should
employ
trigger.
it should trigger.
Okay, yes, what you said is correct. We should go for automated cloud flow. Why? Because what is my trigger point in this requirement? My trigger point is when I modify the annual revenue of an account, my logic should get triggered. So I have a specific trigger. When I modify the field of an account, it should get triggered. So using automated cloud flow only, you can trigger a flow when you modify a field. Okay, so you have creation of an account, updation of any field, and deletion of any record. So you have to go for automated cloud flow. Okay, let's implement this requirement using automated cloud flow. Okay, see, so if you want to, oh yeah, okay. So let's implement this requirement using automated cloud flow. So cloud flows can be implemented in two places. Okay, either you can go to solution and you can create a automated cloud flow from there. Okay, I'll show you. So now you are here. You can click on settings, advanced settings. Okay, if you can click on solutions, when you click on solutions, it is going to make.powerapps.com. It is going to make.powerapps.com. From here, you can open the solution and you can create an automated cloud flow. Okay, let's click on sign in. Okay, now, so here you can see the solutions. These are the solutions. You can open the solution. This is our solution, Walmart CRM components. You can open the solution and you can create a flow from here. You can click on new. You can click on automation, cloud flow. So this is automated cloud flow. So you can create an automated cloud flow here, or you can go to another URL called make.powerautomate.com. Okay, so you can go to this site, make.powerautomate.com. I will ping this URL in the chat. Okay, so you can go to this particular site, make.powerautomate.com. Enter. You can also create a flow from here. You have two ways. You let it open. Okay, let's refresh it one more time. Click on sign in. So yeah, you can also create a flow from here. Okay, so you can choose the environment. You should choose the correct environment. Okay, so this is my environment, correct environment. Okay, so you can click on my flows. You can create a new flow. Click here, automated cloud flow. Okay, you can also create from here, or you can create from there. Okay, better you can create from here. So this is make.powerapps.com. So how to come here? So let's say you click on solutions. Open your solution. This is your solution. Inside your solution, click on new, automation, cloud flow, automated cloud flow. Okay, so now you have to give the name, flow name. So I'm giving the name like update salary of an employee with annual revenue of account. So this is my flow name. Okay, so choose your flow trigger. What is my trigger? What is my trigger point in this requirement? What is our trigger point?
Annual revenue.
When I modify the annual revenue, it should get trigger, right? So it is on a specific field. It is on a specific field, annual revenue. So so first you need to select. So this is CRM trigger, right? CRM, when you modify a field inside the CRM entity, it should get trigger. So this is CRM trigger. Since it is a CRM trigger, you need to choose Microsoft Dataverse. Microsoft Dataverse. Okay, see this one, Microsoft Dataverse. Microsoft Dataverse, when a row is added, modified, or deleted. This is your trigger point. Click on create. Okay, so this is your trigger. So here you need to choose the trigger, change type. Let's click on change type. So on which operation you wanted to trigger it? What is this operation? Is it a create operation, delete operation, or update operation? What it is? Trigger.
Update.
Trigger point is update. When I modify the annual revenue, it should get trigger. So it is update operation, right? So if it is a update, then you have to choose modify. Update means modify. So these are the available triggers. When you create any record at that point of time, if you want to trigger, you need to choose added. Let's say if you want to trigger your flow on create and deletion, then you should choose this. If you want to trigger your logic on creation and modification, you should choose this. So you have different types of triggers, but I in this requirement I only wanted to trigger it when I modify a field annual revenue. So I am selecting modified. Table name, which table name we should choose here? Entity. On which
Annual
entity it should get
revenue.
trigger? Account. So this annual revenue field is available in which entity? It is available on account entity. So account. Okay. Scope, you need to choose it like organization scope. Okay. So on which field change you wanted to trigger it? On which field change you wanted to trigger?
Salary.
Annual revenue. When I modify the annual revenue, it should get trigger, right? So what is the schema name of annual revenue? So that schema name you have to pass it here in the select columns. Okay. So in the select columns, you have to pass the schema name of annual revenue because I wanted to trigger it when I modify the annual revenue. Okay. So let's find out the schema name of annual revenue. Okay. So how to find out? You need to copy this URL. You need to open the settings. Okay. Settings, true. Let's open the entity in settings. Go to settings, solutions, open our solution. So account fields. So this is annual revenue. So where do we have that field? Here. So this is the name. So find out this name, copy, go back to the flow, paste it here. Okay. So this is my trigger point. When I modify the annual revenue of an account, my flow will get trigger. So this is my trigger point. Okay. Let's say once it is triggered, what should happen? Let's say this is my account. When I modify the account, what should happen? As per the requirement, what should happen? What should
who are
happen
asso-
after?
who are associated with that account, employees salary should be updated.
Right. So when I modify the annual revenue, first I need to retrieve these employees. You have 5 employees, right? So I need to retrieve these 5 employees and I need to update the salary of an employee. So first I need to retrieve and then I need to update. So I have to write implement retrieval. Okay, it is not a single retrieval. It is I need to retrieve multiple records, right? So if you want to retrieve multiple records in Power Automate using Power Automate, I'll show you how to retrieve. Okay. So now I can close this. Okay. Now trigger point is done. We set the trigger. Now we are going to retrieve the employee records. Okay. Click on new step. So I wanted to retrieve CRM records. I wanted to retrieve CRM records, right? If it is CRM records, you need to choose Microsoft Dataverse. This one. CRM create, CRM update, CRM delete, CRM retrieve. For all those operations, you have to choose Microsoft Dataverse. So this is Microsoft Dataverse. When I select Microsoft Dataverse, it has a lot of operations. Add new row. Add new row means if you want to create a new record, you have to choose this. Delete a row. If you want to delete any record using Power Automate Flow, you have to choose this. Like this, you have a lot of operations. Get a row by ID, which means that if you want to retrieve a record using ID of the record, then you have to choose this. Get row by ID. Single retrieval. This is list rows. List rows means retrieve multiple. List rows means retrieve multiple. Let's say if you want to retrieve multiple records which are associated to a specific entity, you have to go for list rows. Now we have to retrieve all the employees which are associated to an account. So this is also a list rows, retrieve multiple. So I have to choose list rows, retrieve multiple. Retrieve multiple is nothing but list rows. So now, can you tell me which table records we have to retrieve? Which table records we have to retrieve?
Employees.
Employee table, right? So a table name should be employee. So you can type employee, something like this. Employees, okay? I wanted to retrieve employee records. So do we need to retrieve all the employees or do we need to retrieve only specific employees? So when I click on employees, so it has a lot of employees, right? It has 14 employees. Do we need 14 employees or do we need any specific employees?
Specific employees.
So I want to retrieve employees where company equal to specific company. I do not want all the employees. I want the employees which are specific to a company. Okay, let's say if I go to an account is associated to only let's say if I go to HCL is associated to how many employees? 5 employees. I only want these 5 employees. So my condition is get all the employees where company equal to HCL. Get all the employees where company equal to TCS. Get all the employees where company equal to Deloitte. Something like that. Okay. So that is your condition. So that condition you have to write it in list rows. List rows means retrieve multiple. I want all the employees. If you do not put any query or if you do not pass any fetch XML, it will fetch all the employees. But we do not require all the 14 employees. That is not the correct way. I only wanted to get the employees which are specific to an account. So here you have two ways. Similarly, so if you want to write a retrieve multiple in a plugin, you can write it in you can write it using fetch XML or you can write it in query expression. There are two ways, right? In flows also, you have two ways. Either you can pass the fetch XML query or you can pass the OData query. Okay, see here you can see the filter rows option. Here you can pass the OData query if you want, or you can also pass the fetch XML query. So two ways, you have two ways. I'll show you how to retrieve the records using fetch XML query. Okay, so now let's build the fetch XML query. Okay, now we are going to build the fetch XML query. So let's go to the settings. This is CRM settings. So here you have filter icon. Click on this filter icon. Okay, now which entity records you wanted to retrieve?
Employee.
Employee records, right? So you need to choose employee record. Look for should be employee. Okay, I want to retrieve employees. Let's say if I click on result, it is showing 15 records. Do we need 15 records?
No.
No, we do not require all the employees. So what is our condition? I want employees where company,
Company is equal to HCL.
where company equal to HCL or company equal to TCS or company equal to Wipro, something like that.
Select.
I want all the employees where company equal to HCL. Let's click on result. So you can get 5 employees. But you shouldn't keep HCL record always. This we discussed when we are writing a writing a plugin or custom workflow. You shouldn't keep a static value always. So if you keep the static value always, it will always fetch the records of HCL. I'll show you how to remove this static value. But to build the fetch XML, I just selected HCL. Okay, employees where company equal to HCL. So now our query is ready. Let's click on download fetch XML. Now fetch XML is getting downloaded. So this is my fetch XML. So let's open this fetch XML. Okay, this is our fetch XML. Okay, you can see I am retrieving employee records. So this is my filter condition. What is my filter condition? Company equal to, so you do not require this UI type and UI name. Remove this. Company equal to, so this particular company, what is this company? This is HCL ID. So you shouldn't keep HCL ID always. Instead, you have to pass the dynamic value. I'll show you how to pass the dynamic value. Okay. So for now, this is your fetch XML. Copy this fetch XML. Go back to your flow. So this is my flow. So here you have fetch XML query. Paste it. You no need to format now. You can directly pass the fetch XML query. This is your fetch XML query. But as I told you, here your condition, it is your condition, like we mentioned it like company equal to this particular company. This is HCL company, right? You shouldn't keep HCL ID always. If you keep HCL ID always, it will always fetch the employees of HCL. Let's say if I open TCS record and if I modifying the annual revenue, even though I am modifying it for TCS, it will fetch the records of HCL because we mentioned the static HCL ID here. So that is why you need to remove this. I am removing it. You shouldn't keep static ID, static company ID here. Instead, you have to pass the dynamic value. Can you tell me on which entity it is getting triggered? Our flow is getting triggered. On which entity the flow is getting triggered? On which entity the flow is getting triggered? What is the
Both.
trigger? So it is getting triggered on account entity when we modify the revenue value. So it is getting triggered on account entity. Since it is getting triggered on account entity, so this trigger will contains the ID of the record. See, it is getting triggered on account entity. Since it is getting triggered on account entity, it will have the information of account, account ID, account record ID, account entity schema name, account fields information. All that information will be available in this particular step, in this particular trigger. Okay, so from this trigger point, I am going to get the account ID because I want the account ID. Let's say if I open HCL, if I modify the annual revenue, so this step will contain the ID of the HCL record. Let's say if I open another record, if I open TCS record, if I open TCS record and if I modify the annual revenue of it, then our flow will get trigger. Now this trigger point will contain the ID of TCS. So whichever the record that I am modifying, that account ID will be available from the step. Okay. So as we know that account ID is available in the trigger point, from this trigger point, I'm going to get the account ID. Okay. So now here in this fetch XML, here between these braces, I want to pass the account ID. See, this account ID is available in this particular step. account id is available in this particular step. So from this step I will get the account id and pass it into the retrieval. I'll show you how we can pass it. Okay, you can simply click on that in between the braces. You just click on it. When you click on it, you can see the dynamic content here on to the right. Okay, so here I want to pass the account ID. What is the schema name of account ID? See, so this is account info account, right? So when I click on fields, you can see the account ID. So let's find it out. Account ID. Let's come down. See here, this is account ID. This is primary key. Okay, so this primary key holds the account ID information, the 32 digit alphabet digit number. Okay, so that is available in the primary key. So that is account ID. Okay, so each entity will contain this primary key. So let's say if I go to employee, employee will have a primary key. If I go to contact, contact will have a primary key. So that primary key holds the ID. So in the dynamic content, so what is the schema name here? This is account ID. Copy this account ID and paste it here. Okay, it is not available here. So just type account. Just type account. Okay. So when I type account, you can see unique identifier of account. So this is unique identifier of account. This is the primary key. This is the primary key. Okay, so this is coming from where? This id is coming from which step? You can see it is coming from this particular step, when a row is added, modified or deleted. So where do we have that step? We have the step here, when a row is added, modified or deleted. From the step we are getting the account id. Okay, so now I am passing this account id from this particular step to our retrieval. Let's click on this account. This is unique identifier. This holds the id of the account. When I click on it, you can see it got added here inside the braces. When I mouse over on it, you can see the account id. See, body slash account id. So this is the same id, same primary key. Okay, so now I am passing the account id from this particular trigger point to this particular retrieval. I am passing the account id from trigger step to retrieval step. So this is retrieval step. I return the fetch xml, but inside the fetch xml I shouldn't keep the static account id. So I removed the static account id and passed the dynamic account id, and which is coming from trigger point, trigger step. Okay, now our retrieval is done. So you can rename this retrieve name if you want. So it is like list rows, right? If you want to rename, you can. So I'm writing like get all employees. So this is the name that I wanted to give, get all employees. You can save it. Now we retrieved the records. Okay, so retrieval is also completed. So in this step, we triggered the flow. Using the step, we are getting all the employees which are specific to an account. So retrieval is completed. Okay, now when I modify the annual revenue, my flow will get trigger. My flow will get trigger and it will get all the list of employees. After getting list of employees, what should we do? After getting employees, what should we do? What is our requirement?
Salary should be updated.
Yeah, we need to update this particular salary. So you have to perform update operation now. We have to perform update operation. So you can go back here. So now you have all the employees. For these employees, you want to set the salary to annual revenue. Okay, you need to you need to update the salary of an employee to annual revenue. So now you have to perform update operation. But you are getting list of employees, right? It is not a single employee. You cannot directly update all the employees at once. Okay, so you cannot update all the employees at once because you are getting multiple records. So that is why you need to loop each and every record. Okay, so this statement will return you list of employees. You cannot update list of employees at once. For that reason, you need to loop them. First record update, second record update, third record update, like that. So you need to write apply to each. So click on add new step. So you have to perform apply to each. Apply to each. You have to perform apply to each. Apply to each is nothing but for each loop, which we implemented in plugin. Okay, so here you have for each. For each means it will loop first record, second record, third record, like that. Okay, we are getting a list of records. See, here you need to pass the object. See, from this, you are getting the list of records, right? A list of records will be stored in value. There is an object called value. So in that object, you will have the list of employees. Okay, so you have to pass the outcome of this particular step to this particular for each loop. See, when you execute this get employees retrieval, it will return you list of employees. Those list of employees are stored in value object. Okay, see here, you have value object. You have value object which is coming from get employees step. This is get employees step. Where do you have get employees step? This is get employees step. From this step, you are getting the list of items, list of employees. So this list of employees you are passing on to apply to each. You have apply to each. So to this apply to each, I am passing the values. Let's click on value. So what does this mean? So you are getting list of employees from the step. I am passing those list of employees on to apply to each because I want to loop the records. First record, second record, third record, fourth record, like that. After that, first record update, second record update, third record update. I am not doing anything other than just looping the records. So here you are getting list of records. Those list of records I'm passing on to apply to each to process one by one. First record, second record, third record, like that. Okay. Now you have first record, second record. This apply to each will pass the records one by one. First record, second record, third record, like that. So now I want to update the salary. I want to update the salary of an employee, right? So click on add action. So I want to perform update operation, right? CRM update operation. If it is CRM update operation, I have to choose Microsoft Dataverse. So select Microsoft Dataverse. So I want to update record, right? So select update row, update a row. Okay, this one. So this is updating a row. So which entity record we wanted to update? Which entity record we wanted to update?
Employee.
Employee. So table name should be employee. Okay, employees. I want to update the table called employee. Okay, so when you are updating any record, when you want to update any record, you also need to pass the ID of the record. If you want to update any record in CRM, you have to pass the ID of that particular record. You have to have that ID. Otherwise, you cannot update. Okay. So, but do you have the employee ID? See, now I want to update all the employees. I want to update the employee record. Do I have the ID of the employee? Do we have the IDs of the employee? See, from this statement, we are getting all the employees. When you get all the employees IDs also will be there. Okay, so when I try to get, see here, so using this fetch XML, so here I am also getting the employee ID. See, a ratio underscore employee ID. I am also getting this employee ID. So when I try to get all the employees which are specific to an account, it will give you employee ID. So from this statement, we can get the ID of an employee. So whatever the ID that we are getting from the step, we have to pass it here under row ID. See, I want to update employee record. If I want to update employee record, I need ID of an employee. So I have to pass that ID here under ID, row ID. Okay, so here row ID, just click on this. So type employee. So I want to pass employee ID. See here, when I type employee, so you can see from the get all employees step, it is coming from get all employees. So where do you have get all employees? This is get all employees, retrieve multiple. From this step, we are getting employee, which is unique identifier of the employee. So unique identifier means this is primary key. So if you can go to employee table, so this is employee table, expand employee table, click on fields. So if you type it like employee, see this is the primary key. So primary key name is what? Employee. So this is what it is showing up, employee. So you need to pass this primary key to this particular row ID. Okay, so let's click on this employee. When you click on employee, if you can mouse over on it, you can see a ratio underscore employee ID. So the same ID, a ratio underscore employee ID. So this will hold the ID of an employee. This primary key holds the ID of an employee. So that is why I am passing the ID onto row ID. If you want to update any record in CRM, you need ID of that particular record. That is why I am passing the ID. From where I am passing this ID, I am already retrieving the employee ID. So from this get all employees method, I am retrieving the IDs of employees. So since I already have the IDs, from this step, I am passing the one employee ID to row ID. Okay. So this is update row. So which field we wanted to update? What is the field that we wanted to correct in employee?
Salaries.
Salary. I want to update the salary. Where do you have salary? You have a salary field here. So this salary field should get updated with which value? This salary field should get updated with which value?
Annual revenue.
Annual revenue. See here, you have annual revenue here. Let's say if I update it to 70,000, the 70,000 should get updated on salary field of employee. So whatever the annual revenue which is there on account, the same annual revenue value should get updated on salary of an employee. Now, this is salary of an employee. This is salary of an employee. This salary should get updated with annual revenue of account. Do we have annual revenue? This salary should get updated with annual revenue of an account. But what is our trigger point? So this is our trigger point. Okay, it is getting triggered on account entity. So when it is getting triggered on account entity, account will have annual revenue, right? See, it is getting triggered when I change the annual revenue. So this is my trigger point. My trigger point is on account entity, right? When I modify annual revenue, my flow will get triggered. Once it is getting triggered, it will have the information of that particular record. When it is getting triggered, when I modify annual revenue, my flow is getting triggered. When it is getting triggered, it will have the information of account record. It will have the information of account ID, account name, account phone number, account annual revenue. All that information will be available in this particular trigger point. Okay, so this trigger point will have the annual revenue value because it is getting triggered on account entity. So from this trigger point, I wanted to get the annual revenue and pass it on to salary of an employee. Okay, so I'll show you how to pass it. So this is salary of an employee. So this salary of an employee should get updated with annual revenue. So here type annual revenue. If I type like annual, see now we are having annual revenue. So this annual revenue is coming from where? This annual revenue is coming from when a row is added, modified, or deleted. It is coming from the trigger point. So this is your trigger point. From this trigger point, we are getting the annual revenue. So let's click on salary. So we are getting the annual revenue from the trigger point. This is trigger point step. So let's click on this annual revenue. I am passing this annual revenue of an account to salary of an employee. Okay, so this is, we are updating employee salary. Employee salary is getting updated with annual revenue of an account. So this is annual revenue of an account. Okay, so you can rename the step instead of update row. So you can type it like update salary of an employee. So you can rename it, you can save it. Now with this, we are done with the flow. Flow is completed. So here we are not writing any code. It is just a configuration. So writing the flow is easier than plugin and custom workflow. Okay, this is kind of a no code or low code. Okay, so now this is your trigger point. Using this trigger point, we are triggering the flow. It is getting triggered on change of annual revenue. Using this step, we are getting all the employees which are specific to an account. Once we get all the employees, we are looping each and every record. First record, second record, third record, like that. After that, we are updating the salary of an employee with the annual revenue using update row step. With this, we are done with the flow. Flow is completed. So let's go back to the flow. So you can click on the cloud flows. So this is your solution. This is your solution. When you click on cloud flows, you can see the flow. So this is your flow. Click on this flow, open this flow. Once the flow is completed, you need to turn on the flow. You need to turn on the flow. Okay, let it load. Okay, why is it not loading? Let's go back. So this is our flow. Let's click on the flow. It's taking some time to load. Let's go back again. So let's click on these three dots. Edit in new tab. Okay, so you can turn off the new designer. So this is your flow. So this is your flow. This is the flow that you have written. So let's click on back. You need to turn on this particular flow. See, this is your flow. So update salary of an employee with annual revenue of an account. See, after completing the implementation, you need to turn on the flow. See here, you have turn off. Turn off means it is already in turn on mode. If you want to stop the flow, you need to click on this. When you click on this, it will be turned off. When you click on this, it will be turned on. Okay, now it is turned on. So now you can modify the annual revenue. This flow will get triggered. Okay, let's go back to the account. Let's modify the annual revenue. Annual revenue to 60,000. Save it. Now I modified the annual revenue to 60,000. So let's go back to the employees. Right now salary was not updated to 60,000. Let's wait for some time. We all know that flows will run in the asynchronous mode. Okay, let's go back here. How to check if a flow is triggered or not? You can see in the run history, you can see whether the flow is triggered or not. Now I modified the annual revenue, right? So you should have a history here. So let's click on this refresh. See, it got triggered and it is succeeded. You can open this and see whether it is successfully completed or not. You can see the green tick marks here. Green tick marks means it is successfully completed. You can click on apply to each and you can see how many records you have. 3 records. Why is it showing 3? Because how many employees you have? 3 employees are there. So here your flow is triggering like first record update, second record update, third record update. So this is apply to each, right? Total you have 3 records. First record update, second record update, third record update, like that. So your flow ran successfully. So now you can go back to the account and check if salary is updated or not. Let's click on refresh. Now you can see it got updated to 60,000. Let's say if I modify it to 20,000 and save it, and again the flow will trigger. Okay, let's go back to the previous screen. So now again the flow got triggered. This is 4 seconds ago. Now it is succeeded. This also you can open and see all green tick marks, and it is also ran for 3 records. Now you can go back to salary. Right now it is showing 60. After refresh you can see that it got updated to 20,000. So it is it'll run in the asynchronous mode. So that is why it will take some time to show the result. So this is how you can write a simple cloud flow. So this is simple cloud flow, automated cloud flow. Okay, so this is automated cloud flow. Here you can also so right now we have seen how to retrieve records. This is retrieve multiple, and we also have seen updating a record. Okay, updation we have seen, retrieval we have seen. You can also create a record. If you want to create any record, you can also create a record. How to create a record? So you need to choose Microsoft Dataverse. So let's click on edit. So if you want to create any record, you need to click on add new step. You need to choose Microsoft Dataverse. Add new row. Add new row means creating a new record. Table name. Let's say if you want to create employee record, so you need to choose employee table. Employee table, and you can pass the data. You can pass the data, whatever the data that you want to pass. Let's say if you want to give the employee ID like 1 2 3 4, something like this. Citizenship, whatever the citizenship that you wanted to give, and a name of the employee. Name of the employee, let's say uh, Ram. Okay, so if you write it like this will create a employee record with this particular data. So this is creation of a record. We have seen creation, updation, and retrieval. Okay, so you can also add the conditions inside the flow. See, you can also add the conditions. Let's say if you want to check the count. So now here you are using get employees method, right? Sometimes get employees, let's say if I open Deloitte record, okay, let's go to accounts. So this is Deloitte. Let's say if I open Deloitte account, if I go to related employees, there are no employees. There are no employees. In this case, if there are no employees, I do not want to perform anything. Okay, if there are employees, update the salary. If there are no employees, then nothing can be done. So if you want to check the condition, if employees are there or not for a specific account, you can add a condition. So you can click on here, plus icon, add an action. So you can add a condition. So this is condition. Click on condition. You can add the condition. So this condition have positive value, negative value, right? If condition satisfies, it will go to yes. If condition fails, it will go to no. So every condition will have two branches. First branch is if condition satisfies, it will go this side. If condition fails, it will go this side. Like that. Why is it taking this much time? Let's refresh. Okay, let's click on these three dots, add an action, condition. I want to add a condition. So let's click on add condition. So here you can write a condition. So what is the condition that I wanted to check from this statement? From this statement, I am getting the list of employees. Or if you want to check a condition like it is getting triggered on revenue, annual revenue, right? I want to check a condition like this. If annual revenue is greater than 50,000, then only I want to update the salary. If annual revenue is less than 50,000, I do not want to update the salary of an employee. My condition is if annual revenue is greater than 50,000, update the salary of an employee. Otherwise, leave it. If you have a condition like this, then you can add a condition attribute here. So click here. I want to check the annual revenue, right? So type annual revenue. So this is annual revenue which is coming from trigger point. Okay. So annual revenue is greater than 50,000. So if it is greater than, if annual revenue is greater than 50,000, I want to update the salary. So where are we updating? In this for each loop, in this for each loop, we are updating the employee. So I will add this block. I will add this for each block inside the yes. See, if annual revenue is greater than 50,000, it will come this side. Otherwise, it will go this side. So if it is greater than 50,000, I want to update the salary of an employee. We are updating the salary of an employee in the for each loop. So I am just dragging this apply each and dropping it here. I am dropping it here inside the statement. So let's say if annual revenue is greater than 50, it will come inside. It will loop each and every record and update the salary of an employee to whatever the value. Let's say if annual revenue is not greater than 50,000, it will go this side. It will go to no statement, else part, and it will not do any update. So this is how you can add a conditions. Okay, this is how you can add a conditions inside a flow. Okay, so with this we are done with the automated cloud flows. Okay, today we have seen the different types of flows: automated, instant, scheduled. We discussed about the different trigger points. We started implementing automated cloud flow. We have seen how to create a record, update a record, retrieve a record using automated cloud flow. And we also discussed about adding a condition inside a cloud flow, automated cloud flow. Okay, so tomorrow we will see how we can create an instant cloud flow and a scheduled cloud flow. That we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so with this we are done. If you have any open questions, you can raise. Open for questions.
Sir, we have plugins and we have MS flows. So major difference is the code only, no, sir.
Sorry. Can you come again?
We have plugins and we have MS flows. The
Right.
main difference will be the code.
Yes, in plugin you have to write the code, but in flows you no need to write the code. Okay. So another difference is, see, we know, right? Flows will always run in asynchronous mode. Okay. So if you want to trigger your logic in synchronous mode, let's say if you want to throw any exception to the user, then in that case you cannot go for a flow. You have to go for a plugin because you can run the plugin in synchronous mode. You can throw an exception from plugin. So in that case you cannot use the flow. You must use the plugin. Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, then if no other questions, I think we are good to close the call for today. Thanks for joining, and we will reconnect tomorrow. Tomorrow also we will have the call. Okay, please try to join. I just wanted to complete the training as soon as possible. Okay, so we'll have the call in Saturday, Sunday as well. If not, I will inform you if there is no class. Okay,
Okay, sir.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.